Hello, everybody. Oh, and I'm getting echoes already. Oh, boy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the advice stream. I'm still getting echoes. Okay. Welcome to the advice stream. I am your host, Jeremy International. The advice stream is the stream where we play old video games and we dish advice. You got advice? I maybe can help you. Boy, that echo at the beginning really threw me off. I was like ready to go, and now I don't remember what I was doing. We're live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's been a little while. It took a couple weeks off. As any longtime listener to the show might know, I've got a bunch of health stuff going on, so sometimes I need to take a little break. It's important, that you take a break when you need a break for everybody. So I did Oldman, who's been a regular contributor to the show for quite a while and is always a hoot and a half to have on, is also taking a little break. I'm sure he'll be back on soon. So you're just getting me tonight. We have a few questions I've garnered from the internet that we will go through. Because I haven't done the show in a long time, I haven't had a lot of people writing in, but we'll get back to it, I'm sure. Hey, Jugsy, welcome back. Jugsy says, Jeremy time. Yeah, it's Jeremy time. That should be the name of the show. It's the time for Jeremy. But we have lots of interesting questions. As always, a content warning. The advice stream acknowledges the existence of sex. If you have a difficult time with the acknowledgement of the existence of sex, this might not be the show for you. We always talk about sex in an honest and medically, clinically healthy way, I hope. That's the goal. I'm always open to feedback about that. Otherwise, I don't have a whole lot planned. What I was thinking as far as games go for tonight is a few months ago, I got the Analog Duo, which is a new machine from Analog. Also, if you've listened to the show, you know that Analog, I'm a big fan of Analog. And Analog has released a TurboGrafx 16 device called a Duo that I got a few months ago. I haven't had a lot of chance to play with it because I don't have a lot of TurboGrafx 16 games. Hey, Amir, welcome back, Amir. It's good to see the regs on the chat there, Jugsy and Amir here. So I figured I'd grab. I only have 6 TurboGrafx 16 games. We'll talk a little bit about the history of the TurboGrafx 16 if anybody cares, and it's fine if you don't. And then maybe we'll do a little playthrough. The main game I'd like to play tonight, which I've never played before, is a game called Splatterhouse. You might have heard of it. TurboGrafx 16 games come on these little cards. Isn't that cool? These little cute cards. So we'll play that for a little bit, and we'll see it. If I'm not into it, then we got some other games that we'll try out. TurboGrafx 16, I don't remember what year it came out. Probably late 80s, early 90s was the first 16-bit console most people could buy at home. If you're thinking like Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, the TurboGrafx 16 was kind of a predecessor to them. Never really hit it off in this state, so games are actually pretty hard to find, and if you want one, you typically have to pay a decent amount of money. The 6 games I have are games that I kind of had perceived as part of the canon of video games, so I picked them up even before I had a device to play them on, and I'm glad I did because I don't think I could afford to buy any of these games today. So it was a much more popular and successful system in Japan where it was called the PC Engine. And actually, some of the games I have for the TurboGrafx 16 are actually PC Engine games. Fortunately, Analog Duo is not region locked, so I can play Japanese games on it just as easy as American games. That's very exciting information, I'm sure, for everybody to hear. Cool. Let's, well, I don't know. What should we do to start off with today? Where should we start? I would like to talk about a couple of things I'm excited about. I think it's really important that we all have things to look forward to. So forthcoming things that I'm excited about. What am I excited about? Well, my birthday is in a few weeks. It's in the middle of April. So that's always exciting for me. I always make a big deal out of my birthday. The I've heard the Three Body Problem on, was it on Prime, is really good. I haven't read those books. I read a plot synopsis and it seemed really bleak and dark. But I think I might check out that show. It sounds like it's an interesting thing. Anything else I'm looking forward to? No, that's about it. But that's enough. That's enough for now. Um, this episode of the Advice Stream is unofficially brought to you by Haribo Gold Bears. As normal, a champagne of gummy bears. If you're looking for gummy bears, you can't do better than Haribo. And as a reminder, the green ones are strawberry. I I like that joke, and I'm gonna keep making it until someone begs me to stop. If you'd like to seek advice on the stream tonight, please head on over to JeremyInternational.com. And there's a contact form on the bottom that you can fill out, and questions will come to me right away if you want to be anonymous. If you want to share in the chat, you can just put your question right in the chat on whatever streaming service you prefer. But if you'd like to keep it anonymous, then you can email in and I will read it out loud and we will discuss. Why don't we start with a question? I'm having it's taking me a little while to, kind of pull the cord to get the lawnmower of the show going today. Let's start. That's a long one. Let's start with a short one. Hey, there's Oldman. Thanks for coming out to support the show, Oldman. I appreciate it. It's good to see your name, your screen name appear in the chat there. Okay, so let's do a question. This one I found on Reddit and it kind of bummed me out, and I felt like it's something that's worth talking about. Here we go. Around how many women would you guess a very attractive man would have had sex with at 30 years old? I, female 28, have been dating someone that I like a lot for a few months, but I have the feeling that he has had sex with many women before, and I am not sure I feel comfortable with that. I asked him how many people he has been with, but he won't tell me. We have not been intimate yet, but he has been pressuring me to have sex and tried already soon after we first met. I have no idea. Could he have had sex with like 100 people? I have no idea what could be a realistic number for someone that is very attractive. She said that twice. And has only had one relationship of 1 year. So he's been single for most of his life. So I have a lot of things, please, this is always meant to be a discussion. So please put something, comment in the chat if you want to. The thing that jumps out at me is that he's pressuring you to have sex. And no one should do that. So I would say that's a pretty good reason to end a relationship. Although I'll also add in, if you think this is the kind of guy that's had 100 sexual partners in 30 years of life, you've been dating him for months and you haven't had sex yet. So just numerically speaking, if it's taking him months and months of dating somebody before he can have sex with them, I don't think he's had time to have hundreds of partners. But if someone is doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable, like pressuring you to have sex when you don't want to, then you probably shouldn't date that person regardless of how attractive they are. But also, it is not your business to know how many people he has slept with before he met you. You can reach a point in your relationship where that's a conversation that he might feel comfortable sharing. But maybe you get married and you spend your whole life with this guy. He has no obligation to tell you that number, and I don't think it's really appropriate for you to ask, to be honest. So that's my take. I think both of you seem like you got some hangups. He's pressuring you, and that's a big red flag. But also, you're pressuring him to share some intimate information about himself and his past that you also seem very ready to judge him negatively on. So maybe both of you should go your separate ways. You should find somebody that maybe puts out a little bit quicker, which is, I'm not saying you're wrong, but and waiting for months, that's a totally reasonable thing to do. But he wants to move a little bit faster than you're ready for, and I think that you would like to be with someone that maybe has had fewer partners. It's also, it says, I have the feeling that he has had sex with many women. What does that mean? I'd like to pick that apart. I wish this person, I could talk to them. What does that mean? You have a feeling that he's slept around a lot. That's interesting. Anyways, I think both of you got some stuff to figure out, and you should do so separately. Is all I'm gonna take that one. Okay, that's one question. That was the easy one, but I don't know. I feel weird about that. I feel like they're both people that are doing things that I'm not a fan of, and I wish that both of them wouldn't do that. Why don't we just get right into it, everybody? And I'm going to put on my game here, and we're going to check it out, see how it goes. Does it? Yeah, there we go. Okay. I should probably... How are we doing this? How are we... Oh, did I lose my... I did. Okay, hang on, everybody. Quick technological difficulty going on here. One moment, please. One moment, please, everybody. There we go. It's been a while since we've done this this view before, because we normally have a guest. So I'm gonna just zip down into the corner over here if I can get in this circle just the right way, and we're gonna try out. Am I still getting an echo here? I am. Why am I getting an echo? Well, let's see. That's so weird. Am I going to get audio from the game? Is there audio from the game? There's no audio from the game. Oh, there we go. We got audio from the game. So I've never played this before, but this is kind of like an early, like, horror classic 16-bit video game. And we'll see how it goes. Spooky. Okay, so I can go back and forth. And I punch. There's a weapon I can pick up. How do I pick it up? Let's pause it for a second. You can notice here I'm using an 8-bit do kind of recreation of the TurboGrafx 16 controller. It has 4 buttons. I don't know what any of them do. So we're learning together. Oh, so down picks up the thing. Oh, that's fun. That's satisfying. I don't hate this. Can I jump? I can jump. Ew. Do I have to jump over this? Oh, wow. So, boy, you doesn't take much to kill ya. So that's important. Oh boy. I just punched a bat. Okay, I see. This music is pretty great. Can everyone hear the music okay? Do I need to make it louder? Oh boy. Yeah, alright, well, so I can play this for a little bit. This isn't too bad. I don't mind punching a bat. Although, you know, they eat mosquitoes. Yeah, boy, it does not take a lot. Does not take a lot to knock you out in this game. I wish I had my 2x4 again. That was fun. Oh, wait, I think you just turn Ooh. I don't like him. Oh my god, their brain falls off. Chugsy says this is the future. Mira says, I've heard this game is infamous for the last fight being ridiculously difficult and then having a plan to end the ending. Yeah, I think there's also like multiple endings if I've heard this correctly. But you know, I mean, like games like this, just these like side-scrolling like beat 'em ups are sometimes pretty boring, but there's something about the response, the controls on this game just feel really tight. So I feel I kind of really like it, to be honest. It maybe doesn't look that special by like our standards, but it feels really good. Is the best way I can describe it. Where'd you go? Do I climb up? I do. We won't play this for long. Jugsy's asking if there's a kick. There is, like if you crouch, you can kick. Ew. Well, we're definitely kicking now. Do I? So when you get hit, you just like become invisible for a little while. All right, Splatterhouse. Game over. Well, let's try it again. The Analog Duo does have like a save state that I don't think I have set up on this, so I won't. I probably won't be doing that. But we'll play this for a little bit, and then we'll do another question, and then we'll check out another game. I don't like these guys that barf. Man, could you imagine being like 14, like a 14-year-old boy when this game came out? You must have thought it was the coolest thing you ever saw in your life. I remember what I remember, I didn't know anyone that had a TurboGrafx 16, but I remember it being very very heavily advertised in comic books. And so like every comic book you'd get, there'd be like, buy a TurboGrafx 16. It clearly didn't work because I don't think anybody ever did. But this game was marketed a lot. Come here, little squirrely brain fella. I'm not scared of you. That's so gross. Can I take this up the ladder? No. No, I cannot. Alright, so now we go back into the... let's catch up on the comments here. Amir says, cool new stream layout. This is actually the original stream layout, but I haven't used it in so long because I've always had a guest, so I've had room for another person. So I haven't used this in a very long time. I like it, but I definitely miss having other people around. It's interesting, Amir, that you bring up Friday the 13th for the NES because I just got a really, really nice copy of that. So maybe we'll play that. We'll play that sometime soon. That's a game that I remember renting when I was a kid and not understanding anything. I feel like that game is a little tricky to get the hang of. And I'd like to maybe, I don't know, read a guide about it or something before I give it a shot. But yeah, Amir, stay tuned because we'll definitely be streaming Friday the 13th on the NES. Soon-ish because I just got a copy of it. I never heard of it before. I saw a little clip today just scrolling through social media for this Sega Genesis game called Ooze, Ooze, and man, that looks like a fun game. That's on the top of my list. I don't have a lot of money to spend on games these days, but I don't think it's a particularly expensive one, so I'll be on the hunt for a cheap copy of Ooze on the Sega Genesis, because I really want to play that game. If you have a second to look up what that game is and how it looks, I think you'll be excited about it too, because it looks weird and fun a lot. Um, One thing that I really, if I had one video game wish, it would be that I want to be able to play. I want to be able to play the original Fallout games on something simple and handheld and light. I mean, I guess I could buy a Steam Deck, but they're expensive, and I don't really have that in my heart these days. But I feel like streaming, like doing a serious stream where like I'm not hanging out and talking as much as I am like playing a game and hanging out. For the original 2 Fallout games, sounds like a blast. Never played those, always wanted to. I played a lot of the original Diablo. I'm just talking about like games from that era. How do I... Jeez. Did I die? Oh no, I made it. Stage 2. Here we go. Stage dose. Man, this game, I'm really, really feeling it. It's hard though. It is challenging. Like I was saying, the controls feel really tight, but it's sometimes those jumps are just a little bit longer than you think they are. Oh, what's that? No, thank you. No, thank you. Can I hit him? Ew! Man, it's kind of gross. It's kind of gross. This splatterhouse, I bet smells real bad. Oh, is that how you're supposed to go down the ladder? Nope, no, I'm in the water. I don't think that's good. It's that that splat up against the wall, man. It's very satisfying. Oh, I gotta jump over those. Yeah, the timing for those jumps takes a little bit of, oh my god, practice, and it's not quite what you think it's gonna be. All right, we're gonna try this one last time. I think this is my last life. Oh man, I hit the wrong button. I forgot how to jump. Yeah, you really, the trick is you gotta lean into those jumps. I really wish I had my 2x4 when those guys sneak up on you like that. Man, the music's getting faster. It really stresses me out. Okay, is that a game over? All right, game over. We'll take a little break. I'm just going to leave it like that because we can continue. Let's go back to a bigger... Here we go. Man, that's fun. If you're just joining us, this is the advice stream. It took me a little while to get my legs under me tonight for some reason, but we are have been at least, and maybe we'll keep playing Splatterhouse on the TurboGrafx-16. Never thought I'd say that on a live stream. I wonder how many people on Twitch are streaming Splatterhouse on the, or any TurboGrafx-16 game for that matter. We're live on Twitch, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. The advice stream is a stream where we play old video games and we catch up, we hang out. If you have questions, if you're in a conundrum, if you need some help, go ahead and head on over to JeremyInternational.com. There's a contact form there. You can put your question in there. I'll read it out loud anonymous and we can discuss as a community, because that's what communities do. We help each other out. We're there for each other when we need help. I'm feeling like this is starting to turn into like a Delilah. You guys know like the radio show Delilah? I feel like I'm Delilah, but playing old games. Anyways, that's I guess that's the show, right? This is Delilah, and instead of playing cheesy music from the 90s, we're gonna play cheesy video games from the 90s. But if you need help, if you're out there and you're alone and you don't know where to turn, head on over to JeremyInternational.com. I'm enjoying today a little bit of Basil Hayden bourbon, just a little bit, and I'm eating some of today's unofficial sponsor, Haribo Gold Bears Champagne of Bears. I learned this recently. You know why they call Miller High Life the Champagne of Beers? It's not because they're trying to make it sound like, oh, it's fancy like champagne, because we all know that it's not. It's because it has so much carbonation in it. It's like champagne because it's so carbonated. That's why they call it the Champagne of Beers. That's one thing I learned today, which I think is really interesting. I like a good Miller High Life. I enjoy that. I feel like I don't drink a whole lot of beer these days, and when I do, I usually like to get something a little snooty, if you know what I mean. But Miller High Life never goes out of style, and it's cheap, and you can get it anywhere. What I like to do, this picture, by the way, is of a 5 pound bag. I keep forgetting that, a 5 pound bag of gummy bears. That seems like a lot of Haribo Gold Bears. The what was I going to say? What I like to do with the Miller High Life in the summer is you get a glass bottle of it, pop the bottle, have a couple swigs off the top, and top it back off with Aperol. You make like a little Negroni kind of deal with Miller High Life and Aperol. It's wonderful. It's a really good way to cool off in the summertime. It's very refreshing. It's a little bitter if you like that kind of thing. But I'd recommend, if you are a person that enjoys a simple cocktail from time to time, especially in the summertime, can't do better than that. It's called a Spaghetti. It's a Baltimore classic. Miller High Life, a couple swigs off the bottle, fill it back up with Aperol. All right, let's do another question. This is a good one. This one's cute. Once again, content warning. We acknowledge the existence of sex on the advice stream. Here we go. I'm a woman in my 30s and have been married to my husband for 8 years. We have a good sex life, and we occasionally try new things out to spice it up. My latest experiment was a bit of play wrestling as foreplay. We're both pretty fit, and I thought it would get the blood flowing before moving on to sex. Well, the first time we tried, my husband Carl, why would you pick Carl? I think that's funny, as a hypothetical name for your husband, simply grabbed me and pinned me down in about a second and a half. He didn't even seem to be trying all that hard, just kind of held me down while I wriggled and tried to get out or at least loosen his grip. Nothing was hurt but my pride. But it put a damper on things and has been pretty embarrassing. I'm not sure if we need to go over some rules for play wrestling or if I need to take an actual wrestling class or something, because I would like to try this again and have it not fall flat again. Do you have any recommendations? I think that Carl missed the play wrestling part and he was just super hyper focused on winning. And it seems like that's kind of what was happening for you too, letter writer, because you're super hyper focused on the fact that you lost. But Normalson says, sweep the leg. Hey, it's Normalson, man. I haven't seen Normalson in the chat in a long time, although I saw Normalson IRL very recently. Jugsy says, make a safe word and train BJJ together. Lol. They need a referee, Amir says. Jugsy, what's BJJ? I don't know that one. Yeah, but like, come on. You're supposed to be pretending to wrestle. This is one of the things, and I'm not judging anybody. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, you should do that. Is that the one where it's dancing and there's drums and stuff? It's really pretty. There's a lot of like turning. Is that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I don't know the answer to that. But, I mean, this is one of the things that I struggle understanding in other people because I don't have much of this in my nature, but it seems like I'm reading in between the lines. But Yeah, isn't capoeira, is that not Brazilian jiu-jitsu? I don't know. I'm not a particularly knowledgeable about martial arts. Um what was I gonna say? Oh, I'm reading in between the lines, but I'm picturing two like really hyper competitive people. They're fit and they're athletic and they play sports and they're really focused on winning. So when you brought this up to your husband, he's thinking, I'm gonna win. And then you letter writer are upset that you didn't. Um, I think that's what I'm reading here. And not everything has to be a competition, and not everything has to have a winner and a loser. That's something I'm trying to teach my kid who's almost 4, and I think lots of adults don't realize that. The whole point of this kind of thing you're doing is to have fun, and it shouldn't be about winning. I think that both of you need to understand that. You need to have that communication. Um, Normalson, thanks for coming by to say hi. I really appreciate it. Adios to you too, amigo. And I'll hopefully see you in a few days. Um, Jugsy says that that's different than Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I should look it up because I'm curious. Um, I yeah, I'll that's I didn't know that those were two different things. Yeah, Jugsy says I'm on the assumption that the writer wants competition. Yeah, not everything has to be about winning, a winner and a loser, especially if you're thinking of this as like foreplay. That's also a really the important part of the word foreplay is it's supposed to be play. It's not about winning, it's about having a good time and getting weird and rolling all over each other and getting sweaty or whatever it was you thought you were going to get out of this. Both of you need to revisit this concept I'm imagining, but I suspect that I'm right. That both of you have about being competitive. At least that's what I'm reading in between that. Is he wanted to win, and you got upset that you lost, and this should not be a winner and loser sort of thing. Yeah. Anyways, I think it's kind of funny. It's a little cute, and it's a little and it just gets so frustrating for me when people always have to be about winning, winning, winning. The other day, I picked up my kid from school and we're going back to the car and she wants to race. And she runs and she's like, I'm winning, I'm winning. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, that's not what this is about. It's about running and having fun. No one has to win. Don't make it about winning, is at least what I was trying to communicate. Normie Hasbin says, if you're both into golf, the word for is also important. That's true because you don't want to hit somebody with a golf ball. I hear that can cause uh, uh, problems with your head if you get hit by a golf ball. Um, yeah, so, man, Haribo Gold Bears are the best. Anyways, that's my take. Calm down. Don't get so focused on winning, both of you. Make sure you tell your partner that. I'm going to go right into another question because the next one I have is also something that I think is hopefully will bring up some interesting talking points. Oh my god, the auto mod blocked out the word foreplay. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and allow that. Jugsy says, I don't think foreplay has to be in what is that? SITU. Every time training together as a lead up is a different thing than wrestle till we're horny. Yeah, I agree. Like if you want to like actually like competitively wrestle with each other, then that's cool. It's a good workout. It's a good way to exercise and to kind of like sync up together as a couple. That sounds like a really great thing, but that's different than like making that as part of like the build up to intercourse. Um, okay, here's another one that's a little less funny, but I think brings up some important things we should all talk about. This is another one that's being written by. Oh, I don't know if it's. I don't know what gender, if any, this person has. My boyfriend and I have been together for a year. Just a few days ago, he told me he used to be addicted to drugs. They've been together for a year. Just a few days ago, he told me he used to be addicted to drugs. He told me when he was 18, which is 3 years ago, he was so desperate for money to get drugs that he let a random guy go down on him in a bathroom and they had sex. I just now found this out. He never mentioned this before. I feel put off by this because it makes me worried he could have a disease or something. He said he did all kinds of things when he was an addict and that he's not proud of. He also said he slept with some random girl who was a drug addict his friend knew back then. It makes me look at him differently, and I know that it is wrong, but I can't help it. I don't know what to do. How can I get past this awful feeling? This one's a little darker, I guess, than the wrestling people. And, once again, please, I always want to hear everyone's point of view in the chat. If you have one, please feel to share it. A couple things I have on this. If you're sexually active with someone, both of you, all sexually active people, should be getting regularly tested for STIs. If you have a long term monogamous partner, then you can stop getting that test eventually. But you've been together for a year, and I would hope that both of you were getting tested earlier in your relationship, because that is always the right and safe thing to do. So if I think it's reasonable to think that anybody you're about to have sex with could have a disease, regardless of what their past is, and that's why they have STI screenings. You can oftentimes get them for free at a community medical center. You have lots of options to do that. And if you haven't done that with your partner already, regardless of his background, this has nothing to do with his background. Good idea to do that as you're starting to settle in with new sexual partners. That's just kind of should be standard operating procedure for everybody. Having said all of that, this guy, has had a rocky background, as many people do. And he was telling you this in an expectation for some empathy, and it seems like you're not in a place to present that empathy to him at this moment. I think that's worth examining. Why can't you get there? You've been together for a year, and if there's a reason you don't think you can get there, then he deserves to be with someone that will appreciate him regardless of what his past is. You got to rise to the occasion, or you got to let him go so he can find somebody else that can. That's my spin. Everybody's got a past. Some people's pasts are rockier than others, and I can't imagine a person that doesn't have something in their past that they're not proud of. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody gets into trouble. Drugs are serious. It also, the language here is that he used to be a drug addict. Most people are always addicts if you're an addict, and he's just in recovery, and hopefully he stays that way. But he needs empathy, he needs understanding, he needs acceptance, like everybody does. And if you can't get that for him, then you should let him go so he can find somebody that can. And you should also then look at yourself and try to see why you're not able to get there for a person that seems like you care about if you've been together for a year. I think that's sad that you're not able to. But if you're not, you're not. And you need to be honest with yourself about that. All right. Shall we... What's the over under here, audience? Should we get back to Splatterhouse? You guys want to see more Splatterhouse, or you want to see a new game? Mir says maybe the reason he never brought it up is because there's an open wound there. I think I'd appreciate him opening up to me, if anything, for that reason. Yeah, I mean, when I think there are lots of people. I'm certainly one of them. The way that I get to know people is I dump all of my messed up business on them, and I see how they handle it. And if they don't want it, then cool. I don't want to be friends with them. Or when I was single, I didn't want to date them. It's a really good way to know who you should be spending your time with, is how do they react to the complicated parts of your life. I have kind of a rocky and traumatic medical experience, and I tell everybody everything pretty early on because I don't want anybody that can't handle it. And the sooner you tell people, in my opinion, the better. Now, sharing, your background as something like an addict or a sex worker, if we want to call what he was doing that, is dangerous and risky, and is one of those things that a lot of people will judge you for. So I would never tell people you should or you need to share these things with people early on. But I think that's the way to go. You don't need to waste your time with people that don't that won't be able to accept you for who you are. Whether we're talking about dating or friends, it's all the same. I think that everybody's life would be easier if we all just dumped our business on people pretty early on in the time we're getting to know them. Not to make it their responsibility or their burden, but to be like, this is what you need to know about me. This is my struggle. And everyone's struggle is an intrinsic part of themselves. Everyone has a struggle, and your struggle is yours. And you should, if you survived, you were an addict, and you've been in recovery for a long time, and you used to have to do sex acts in order to get access to your drugs, and you don't need to do that anymore, that is an accomplishment. You should be proud of that. And I would at least have a hard time, I think, not telling people I cared about that part of myself all the time, because that is an accomplishment. Lots of people get addicted to drugs and then they just do that until they're dead. And it seems like he didn't. He deserves better. He deserves someone that'll appreciate that significant accomplishment. Yeah. So I was at a show the other night and bumped into like more of like a friend of a friend's, and we were talking, and it was like, in a music venue, it was loud, and I had earplugs in, so we're kind of shouting over each other. And then like before, like in 5 minutes of hanging out with this person, like we're both like sharing, yeah, this is like this horrible thing I've been through. And it's just a weird experience. But this person, I think, was like me in that they felt like you need to share your stuff, because that's part of you. And if you want to be friends or whatever, then you gotta share that stuff, because that's who we all are. We all have our stuff. Trying really hard not to say shit, or the way that we're all fucked up. I'm trying not to use those words, but I did. And that's what we're talking about. Let's get back. Let's try. I want to play a little bit more because there's a continue. So I want to play a little bit more of Splatterhouse because I'm really feeling it, and we'll see how it goes. But if there's anyone, chat's getting a little quiet, which is fine. It's a Monday night and we're all a little sleepy. But if there's anything that anybody else would like to share about those questions, I also want to say I'm always receptive to feedback. If I give out advice to one of these questions that comes in and someone out there really disagrees with what I'm saying, I would love to hear that, because I could be wrong. I hope I'm not, but I acknowledge that sometimes I get things wrong. So I'm always open to continuing the conversation in that way and just be nice and polite about it. All right, we're continuing Splatterhouse. Here we go. This is not a continue. This is the first level again, isn't it? It totally is. Does that blobby thing go away? It does. So maybe I just let it go away, because jumping over... Oh. Here we go. So this is not... I'm sorry, this is the second stage, because it just started looking off very similar. Ah. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, so now we're back in the water, which I do not like. Hopefully we can get through this fast. It really is. What feels so great about this game is the flinging the stuff up against the wall. Man, that was a bad jump. There we go. Yeah, that's real. Without the 2x4, it's real hard when those two guys show up. Let's see if we can keep it. Nope. Wait, I got it. I'll try to find it if I can. One of those old TurboGrafx 16 comic book ads. Because and put it up on the blog at JeremyInternational.com because they were really great ads, and this game seems so hardcore, and I feel like it kind of is for its time at least. I don't like how the music's getting faster. It's making me really anxious. But we made it. We made it. Uh-oh. What's this? What's happening? Is it an earthquake? I don't... Okay. Oh, so I just have to dodge stuff that's falling. There's a knife in the... Oh my god, the chair. The chair. Do I have to start all the way over? No. This is really, No, I beat the chair. Oh my god. Yeah, Amir, this is definitely that big painting of the eyeball in the background is seriously Maniac Mansion. All right, let's oh, I kind of want to keep playing it. I was going to switch out to another game. Amir, I actually have one of the prize pieces of my video game collection is I have a very complete, very mint condition boxed version of Maniac Mansion for the NES, which I know isn't the same as the PC version, but that's absolutely a game that we could play. The only hesitation I have about streaming Maniac Mansion is, we did a while ago, we did Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. And I thought going into that game would be really entertaining and fun to stream, but it's a lot of like going back and forth and trying random combinations of things out and talking to people, and it actually isn't as engaging to stream a game like that as I had thought. But it's absolutely something worth trying for sure. But I was expecting, because Fate of Atlantis is a game I always wanted to play, and I was expecting it to be really engaging and exciting, and it was. Like, for the first episode, I think we streamed 3 or 4 weeks of that game, and I started to get bored with it like after the second week, because of how much like it's trial and error to figure out what you're supposed to do to move forward. If there's any other games that people would like to see stream from it, previous times, I'd love to hear other games people would like to watch, because I have a lot of games. I might not have the game you're looking for, but I'd be curious to see. One other thing I just remembered that I wanted to talk about, something that I'm really excited about and gives me a lot of joy these days. I guess we don't really spend a lot of time talking about comics on the stream, but I'm a big comics fan, and recently I started reading it's the current run of the Fantastic Four. I think the issue number 1 in this series came out in like 2022, and I'm reading it through Marvel Unlimited, which I can't say enough amazing things. If you like reading comics, specifically Marvel comics, Marvel Unlimited is a deal. It's like $9 a month, and you have access to pretty much everything ever that Marvel's ever put out, from like the 1940s up until 6 months ago. It's a rolling 6 months when you get stuff. If anybody knows anyone at Marvel or Disney, don't tell them this. I would pay way more money to have that kind of access than what they're charging for. So it's all in there up to 6 months ago. The series, I believe the artists change from time to time, but the series is mostly written by someone named Ryan North that I hadn't really heard of before I picked this up. At least the first several issues, the covers are really beautifully painted by Alex Ross, and it's just great. I love the Fantastic Four, and this series is just weird and funny and kind of cute and endearing at times, and I can't say enough nice things about it. If anyone out there is looking for some comics to read, you should pick up this current run or whatever you can get of it, of Fantastic Four. It's so good. Yeah, it's important to have things that make you happy. I've been watching Shogun on Hulu. Really like that show a lot. Super interesting. I feel like I don't know enough about Japanese history, so I think I might I need to do some research, but find a good nonfiction book about the history of Japan. If anybody out there is a expert on Japanese history or has a book to recommend so that someone like me can learn more about it, I would greatly appreciate the suggestion, because I don't really know. I don't know a lot about Japanese history. It seems really fascinating. I think let's play one more. Let's play one more set of lives, since we still have a continue. It seems like we have 3 continues altogether, because I'm into this. I'm into this a lot. I normally have like a thing about the year that a game came out and a little bit of its history. I don't have anything like for this, because I just kind of decided at the last minute that this is what I wanted to stream tonight. But I'm sure that this game is available on other systems. Definitely this was never released for anything Nintendo ever made, I can tell you that for sure. But there's something about the way the controls feel that's just really good. And also this 8-bit do TurboGrafx 16 controller is really, really nice. It's made out of like this nice like textured plastic, feels really good in your hands. It's got these like rounded, if you can see that, rounded corners. I try to play games with the closest I can to original hardware. I don't have anything like a TurboGrafx 16 except for the Analog Duo. There was also a CD media add-on for the TurboGrafx 16, and so the machine that Analog put out has a optical drive in it too, so you can play those disc-based games as well. Very excited if anyone follows this sort of thing. Analog has announced that sometime this year they're gonna make a Nintendo 64 machine. I do have a pretty good system in place for playing the Nintendo 64, and I have quite a few Nintendo 64 games in my collection, but I'm sure that the machine that Analog is going to put out is going to be much higher quality and kind of more sustainable solution than mine. I have a original region unlocked Nintendo 60. How do you get over those two deals? I'm not gonna make it. No, it's because they got a longer reach. So by the time you can get in close enough to punch them, they can hit you. That's why you gotta have the 2x4 to take care of these swampy guys, swampy boys. Like I'm trying not to, but to jump over these spiky balls, like you really have to like lean into the controller, and I'm having a hard time not like leaning. Shit. Where did, there, I got it back. Okay, very important. I'm not gonna make it past the big chair battle coming up with the 2 hearts I have. The music speeding up really is hit me hard. I don't like that at all. Okay, do your best, do your best. Oh. Okay, that's that's my best. That's what I did, my best, and that was it. I think you guys are all sick of seeing the same part over and over again, so let's play something else. Chugsy says I got chaired. I definitely got chaired. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I really love this game. This is a game that's on a million different systems, so this might not be new to anybody. But I'm gonna, just because this game looks so good and it's so weird, is I'm gonna start up Space Harrier. Space Harrier was released on, it was an arcade game, and it was released on everything. So I think I have Space Harrier for the Sega Master System somewhere. So this is just kind of like a brainless, kind of like a twitchy reflex kind of game. But if you haven't seen Space Harrier before, you can see it has this like fake 3D-ness to it. And it's just great. I remember playing this game as a kid, and I'm pretty sure that we had it on our Commodore 64, where I'm sure it looked not this good. But doesn't this look great? It's really hard to dodge stuff, because it's a little hard to see what's coming at you because you're kind of in the way. This game's just great. We'll play this for a few more minutes. I got 1 or 2 more questions that I've collected. We'll go through those, and then I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll wrap it up after that. One of the things I like about streaming like this is I don't have a lot of expectations. I don't know if you guys do. Oh, here comes the boss. Here's the loot dragon guy. I have to get into concentration mode. But it's just about having fun and hanging out. Sometimes I have guests, sometimes Oldman's here, sometimes I'm on my own. Sometimes we have other guests besides that. And it's just, something to do. I was gonna play video games anyways, so I might as well do it with you guys. And maybe every once in a while someone has a question and I can, help them out a little bit. I don't even know if I'm hitting him, to be honest. I don't think I was. I'm gonna try that one more time. And Wait, there's modes? Oh, it's about, I see, whether you want up to be up and down to be down. Or something else. Yeah, that's not working out for me. I think I switched it around by accident. So let's get out of here. All right, let's do another question, and then we're probably gonna wrap it up early tonight because why not? Okay, we actually just have one more, and it's long, but it's worth it. So let's get through it and just bear with me while I read through. But it is a long one. So my wife, 34 female, excuse me, and I, 35 male, have been married for 8 years now, and we have a 7-year-old boy. We decided to open up our relationship last year to spice up our bedroom life. It hurt me a little bit when she brought up the topic, but I agreed because I loved my boy and still loved her. We set a couple of rules to not bring a partner at home, try not to form an emotional bond, and to have her partner tested, and to also get yourself tested regularly. That all makes sense. Well, it's been a year, and to be fair, our bedroom life has been amazing since we opened the relationship. My wife definitely has had a lot more success than me, which isn't that surprising. She's a catch. She's been with a lot of great looking guys the past year. It's honestly a confidence booster, as weird as that sounds. Well, the issue now pertains to a woman, female 30, who I met on Bumble. She's the only person I've been talking to since opening up the relationship. She knows that I'm married, and I have been truthful to her about everything. There's no emotional connection between us whatsoever, but I love talking to her, and we have vibed really well. She had a traumatic childhood, especially when her mother passed away when she was 14, and she was really close to her, and also has her name tattooed over her heart. She never wants a relationship ever because she feels she's too broken to have one, but she loves the connection we have. We've given each other lots of small gifts over the past year. Her birthday is coming up on Sunday, and I spent a lot of time on her gift. I'm giving her a personalized photo watch with her mom's photo. I also had her mom's initials engraved below the watch. I want I went to great lengths to customize it. I was packaging up the watch yesterday in a gift box when my wife came over and asked me about the gift. She knows about her and how close I've gotten with her. I showed her the gift and the letter I had written. Well, I didn't expect what happened after that. She completely broke down and started crying really hard. I was honestly stunned because she gave no indication about this whatsoever. I panicked a bit because I've never seen her cry this much, so I spent a lot of time consoling her. We spoke for a bit and she said she was being completely unreasonable, but it just hurt her seeing how much thought and effort I was putting into my relationship with my partner. I assured her that there is zero emotional connection between us. I will always love only my wife and my child, but my wife seems completely in a shell since yesterday. Uh, yeah, so to paraphrase, husband and wife, they've been together for a while, they have a little boy, decided to open the relationship. Wife has been really successful and seems like she's had a lot of fun with several additional partners. Their bedroom situation has greatly improved over this. The letter writer is the husband who has one partner who he says he has no emotional connection to, but bought that partner a very thoughtful gift, and the wife is now upset about that. Um, you know, the first person that the person you lie to the most is usually yourself. The fact that this guy is saying he has no emotional connection to this woman is not true. Clearly, he knows so much about her past. He put a lot of effort. Sounds like a lot of money too, into getting a really thoughtful, personalized gift for her, like the type of gift you get for someone when you want to show them how much you care about them. Like that's a gift that shows I care about you. I've heard everything you said about your life and your struggle. I see your struggle. I accept your struggle. And here's the thing that I'm getting you that shows you that I see and understand your struggle and that I want to be a part of your struggle. That's what that gift means. So I don't know this guy. Once again, this is a question I got from the internet, so it's not someone that wrote into the show. Um, but he's maybe lying to us, who he wrote the letter to the internet. Maybe he's lying to his wife. I think it's more likely that he's lying to himself, and that he doesn't have the emotional sophistication, the emotional maturity, or the emotional like emotional integrity. Is that a term that exists anywhere? Did I just make up that term? Emotional integrity. I like that term. To be able to be honest with anybody, including himself, about what's really going on here. There are people that can have these really strong emotional investments with multiple people. Just because he feels this way about this woman doesn't mean that he can't feel that way or that he feels less about his wife. But this is very much against the terms of their open relationship. And made me really sad the part when he said that his wife is saying she's being unreasonable. She's not. You guys have, it says right here, somewhere in the letter, that you made a deal that there's no emotional connections. And you have a profound emotional connection with your extra marital person. Normie Hasbin says, neither of the members of the marriage are being quite honest with themselves, each other, or this woman he's dating. It sounds like they're so concerned about doing poly right that they're wrapping around it doing wrong and not being sufficiently self-reflective and honest. Self-honesty in interpersonal. It could be a powder keg, but it doesn't have to be good advice, Jer. I mean, I feel like this is already a powder keg. He's saying that his wife has been kind of closed off to him since all of this happened. Yeah, this is a bad situation. This is why, like being poly or being open or being, ethically non-monogamous is very pop culture these days. It's very cool. It seems, at least from the internet and from my social circle, that it's happening a lot. But it is not for everybody. Not everybody has the emotional bandwidth to do it, but not everyone has the emotional sophistication to do it either. And the fact that a person can say, he's so emphatic about it. I have no emotional connection whatsoever, is his words. And he so clearly does. That's not the kind of person that being poly or non-monogamous is for. That's not the lifestyle for him. He needs to do, if this is what he wants to do, if this is what his wife wants to do. I mean, it seems like they have a lot of work to do together as a team, but also he has a lot of work to do as an individual person in developing a little bit of emotional integrity. Hashtag emotional integrity. Amir says, I think the problem is from the beginning. In the letter, you sort of get the feeling that he got into something he didn't really want to get into or was prepared for. Yeah. We talked about this the last show we did a few weeks ago about like reading books about sexuality and kind of investing in your knowledge and your confidence and how other people have made these types of deals work. And people talk about non-monogamy as being something that not everybody's into because not everybody has that. I think that people that are successful at poly relationships or non-monogamous relationships, those are two different things. The people that are successful about that, they're people that have an excess of love. They have an excess of heart. They have an excess of the type of energy people need to make interpersonal or sexual relationships work. And and so that, I think that's the one of the things people need if they want to make that type of lifestyle work, is they need to be able to have this excess. Not everybody has that access, and that's why that type of lifestyle doesn't work for everybody. But separate from the desire or the ability to do that, they also need to have the, I'm, I'm really happy with this term, so I'm using it again, the emotional integrity. You have to be able to be really honest with yourself, as well as your partners, however many you end up having. Like, it's a cliche, but people say integrity means you do the right thing even when nobody's watching. That you do the right thing even when you could easily get away with not doing the right thing. That's what integrity is. And being in a relationship where your partner already knows that Tuesday night you're going to go out and have sex with somebody and they're cool with that, that'd be really easy to be like, well, then I'm going to just, I'm going to do that thing we were talking about before, where I'm just going to share a little bit about my personal struggle, and she's going to share a little bit about her personal struggle. That in and of itself is also fine. But like, when you start to like make that other person's struggle your business, when you get involved in their struggle, is when you start to reach a level of emotional intimacy that is not in the parameters of what this guy and his wife agreed to. She's not being ridiculous. He broke the rules. Cheating doesn't only mean you're not sleeping with somebody. He had they had an agreement where he could actually have sex with other people, but he had this emotional investment that he can't even acknowledge he's having. So I don't know what hope. Does it say how old they are? He's 35. To be honest, uh, I'm gonna be 45 next month. I feel like I had the ability to have that kind of emotional honesty with myself and other people when I was 35, but probably not when I was 33, not when I was 32. So um, you gotta watch out for that. But yeah, he's done something very wrong, and it's not sleeping with somebody else. It's getting this deep emotional entanglement. The Where I saw this, I feel like it was on Reddit. Someone sent me this, a link to this question that was on Reddit. But I think there was a follow up where he talked about how after he posted that question, he realized, of course, that he has deep emotional connections for this woman, and that if he had to choose between his wife and this woman, he said that he'd choose the woman and not his wife. So I mean, everything that he says in this question, he's lying to himself more than anything else. He's not being honest with himself about what he got himself into and how he feels. You have to have that emotional honesty with yourself to make sure you don't get into these types of situations. But if you don't know what it means to have, I mean, if you can lie to yourself about having an emotional connection, then you're going to end up having an emotional connection. You're not even going to realize it until you have all these complicated feelings and you've destroyed the family that you claim to care so much about. I don't think this is a criticism of the poly lifestyle or the non-monogamous lifestyle. That works for lots and lots of people. My current relationship isn't, but I've been in open relationships before, and it just takes a level of emotional sophistication that people have to have, and if they don't have it, then they can't do it. It doesn't work. All right. Well, it's 10:15. We normally go to 11, but I'm sleepy. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute. Thanks everybody for tuning in and having a nice Monday with me. Glad we all got to play to experience the weirdness of Splatterhouse together. I'm sure there's other ways. You don't have to go buy a TurboGrafx 16 to play it. But if you have the opportunity to play that game, you'll know what I mean when you play it. That sensation of hitting the monster with the 2x4 and they fly and splatter on the wall is very satisfying. I enjoyed that game very much. It's good to see you too, Normie Has-Beens. Yeah, we'll get back on whenever you want to. Maybe I don't do this every Monday. Maybe I do. Who knows? I'll decide if I'm going to do this again next week, closer to next week. I'm just so that everybody knows, because we share all of our complicated things. I'm about to undergo a very serious shift in my medication routine that could very well make me feel a lot better than I have in a long time, but it might not. And so I'm excited to try that out. So if you don't see me as often as you usually do, it's because I'm going through some stuff, but I'm going through this stuff to be better on the other side. And then hopefully I'll be streaming a lot more. But without further ado, and Jugsy and Amir, thank you so much for contributing to the chat. I feel like, it's just like hanging out with friends. I never met you guys, but I really appreciate your contribution. This is always fun. We'll be back next week with, I don't know, something else to do. So have a good one. See you guys.